Hello, and welcome to a very mediocre episode of Other Items of Interest. I'm Jack Zablocki. How are you today? I'm not well, but we're going to get on with the show anyway. We've got some mediocre stories, some mediocre jokes. It'll be a mediocre time for everyone. You know, this week is just not... How about I start out with a hello? Is that a little bit nicer? Hi, I'm Jack Zablocki. This is Other Items of Interest. As I was saying, this week's episode is a little subpar. The news stories aren't that great. And guess who's back? Back again. Road construction crew. For what? I don't know. They redug up the same hole they've been doing and then covered it back over again. Started bright and early at 8 a.m. And this got done a little while ago. It's a little bit after noon. I've been trying to get this done all morning. So I'm a little out of sorts. And the stories for this week are just not up to the caliber I like. I can't control that. I did the best I could finding what was out there. You should go back to go re-listen to last week's episode. That was pretty good. If you hadn't heard it yet, go download it and listen to it in place of this one. I don't know what else to say about it. I wish I could be more positive. Not going to happen. I'm pissy. A little pissy today. This should make for an interesting episode, maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. I'm sure there's something else I wanted to cover right at the top of the show, but it eludes me. My stomach just growled terribly. So now I'm doing this on an empty stomach as well because I've waited for so long. I missed breakfast. I missed lunch. When life gives you lemons, you got lemons. Let's start the show, shall we? We shall. It breaks my heart to do it. Toronto homeowner ordered to remove fake grass. From cbc.ca. That's where we are with this show. We're covering fake grass for Astroturf. I hope you're interested in that because that's where we're going. A Toronto woman wants a city bylaw change to allow homeowners to use artificial turf in their front yards. Sangeeta Gounder and her husband had synthetic grass professionally installed in the front and back of their property 3 years ago. She says it was a great investment. It was getting very difficult to keep a green, weed-free lawn, Gounder told CBC Toronto outside her home in Scarborough. The couple will soon be reverting to real grass after receiving a violation notice in May. Toronto bylaw dictates that a minimum of 75% of the front yard must be soft landscaping. I can't imagine this is interesting to anybody. I'm so sorry. I do apologize. Talking about Toronto bylaws about AstroTurf. Let's continue. Let's just get on with it. Artificial turf is considered a hard surface. I was shocked, Gounder says. The kids play on it. The dogs play on it. And there's a picture of their home. Nice home, very lovely. And their fake lawn, which it looks very good. It's a good looking lawn. I'm not one for front yards lawns. I think it's a waste of resources and space. Let's not get into that. That's not important. Gounder received the bylaw infraction notice after someone complained to the city, which says it only investigates when a call is made to 311. I don't know why you're calling the rap rock band, but If you have their number, go for it. You know, that's really bad because I used that same joke last week from a Toronto story. That's how bad the show is this week. I'm recycling lame jokes. The bylaw officer told me it was purely a reactive situation, Gounder says. I've never actually encountered anybody who didn't like our lawn, so it was surprising to us that someone would complain. The city even gave her a beautiful front lawn garden award last year. How nice. I didn't know a city would do that for somebody's nice lawn, to give them an award of sorts. And it's just a piece of paper, but it's the thought that counts, right? It's unknown how often complaints about artificial turf are lodged. The city doesn't have a specific category for them. Someone can potentially call and it could be captured under property standards or a zoning-related complaint. Both trigger an investigation, said city spokesperson Lynn Kyle. And there we have two separate pictures. One is the notice of violation. And to contrast that, next to it is the beautiful Front Yard Garden Award 2018 paper, even signed by Toronto City Councillor Paul Ainsley. I don't know who that is, but seems important. Gounder says that when she inquired about the violation, the bylaw officer told her the city was concerned about drainage. I didn't think that would be a problem. There's 2 feet of drainage under our turf because it was professionally installed, she says. But the city tells us artificial turf does not absorb water as fast as it would through natural ground cover and can increase flooding risks after heavy rainfall or snow melts. Gounder says the bylaw officer also told her artificial grass is permitted in back lawns but not in the front because it is displeasing to the eye. I don't know, that lawn looked real nice. Oh my God, I hear one of the construction crew trucks are back. Fuck it, I'm just going to keep recording. I don't care how much noise there is. This is ridiculous. While she understands that sentiment when it comes to older iterations of artificial turf, the product installed on her property is a different breed, she says. The technology has come so far. Karen Stintz, the cbc.ca website is an annoying piece of shit when you try to scroll, because a menu pops down every time you scroll one way or the other. And it's driving me nuts. Oh my Lord. Okay. Karen Stintz, a former city councilor and current chief executive of Variety Village, has a personal connection to the issue. She was ordered to remove her artificial turf in 2015 after she had already put her house up for sale. Stintz never did, and the city never followed up. However, when her house was sold in 2016, she said the purchasers noticed the bylaw infraction. So I had to pay them the equivalent of removing the turf and replacing it with sod. They took the money but never did. Ooh, that's not right. Stintz says she wants the bylaw to be changed. And there's a picture of Stintz leaning against a tree, standing on some artificial turf. Lovely woman. If you want to go check her out in the show notes, you can at www.otheritemsofinterest.com. There's tons of pictures of artificial turf in this story, so I really want to wrap this story up so quickly. Artificial turf should be widely used and accepted, she says. I don't understand why the city would consider artificial grass to be a hard surface. It's water permeable. It's not a paved surface like asphalt. Stintz pushed city council to change the bylaw when she was a councilor, but was unsuccessful. I know it continues to be widely utilized even across local business improvement areas and in the city boulevard, so it's unclear why the city is choosing to go after homeowners. Homeowners who opt for artificial turf run the risk of a $1,400 fine. Gounder says she initially planned on fighting the infraction, but instead decided to comply with the bylaw. To have the case heard, she would need to go before the city's Committee of Adjustment, which would cost about $1,800. A fine is only $1,400. Holy moly. Government is useless sometimes. If one person on that panel disagrees, we would lose our claim and that money as well. Exactly. So later this summer, she will be replacing her front lawn with grass. Although it breaks my heart to do it, she says, the city's bylaw has kind of made it very hard for us. I think there is better fish to fry in the city. And thank goodness we are done with this article. I just thought it was quirky at first. This big whole brouhaha over artificial grass. Man, I have a headache like crazy. We'll move on. There's some better stories in here, I promise. This is probably the most boring one we've ever done in the history of the show. Okay, here we go. This is an article with an update. Problem is the headline gives away the joke of the story. This is from WTHR.com. Let's just get into the story itself about a police officer who found his McChicken sandwich from McDonald's had a bite taken out of it. Good enough. A customer at a local McDonald's restaurant is looking for answers after finding that someone may have already helped themselves to his sandwich. The customer, DJ, is a regular at the McDonald's on West Morris Street and Holt Road. He ordered a McChicken sandwich, fries, and cookies, but suspects someone took a bite from the sandwich before he completed the sale. He found the evidence when he opened his order when he got to work. I started to warm up my McChicken, and I noticed several small bites. I know I didn't eat it. No one else was around. I said, you know what? I'm going to the McDonald's to see if they can get that taken care of, said DJ, a local law enforcement officer. I went to the McDonald's and talked to the supervisor. She offered me some free food I didn't care anything about. I just wanted to find out who the person was, and a lot of typos in this, and then deal with that person in an appropriate way. The restaurant confirmed they are aware of DJ's complaint. Managers reportedly told him they will check the schedule to see who was on the food line when he placed his order. A representative of McDonald's told Eyewitness News the incident was an isolated situation, but promised to get to the bottom of it. Now, for the headline I couldn't read at the beginning. Update. Police officer forgot he took a bite from his sandwich at Indy McDonald's. That's right. There's no malice here, no wrongdoing, just an idiot. Here's the update. The Marion County Sheriff's Office looked into the investigation and concluded the police officer forgot he took a bite from the sandwich. The Marion County Sheriff's Office released the following statement. Last week, a Marion County Sheriff's Office employee purchased a McChicken sandwich from McDonald's location at 3828 West Morris Street, Indianapolis. The employee took a bite out of the sandwich upon starting his shift at the Marion County Jail, then placed it in the refrigerator. I can only think about Farva from Super Troopers. That's who I imagine this officer might be. And if you've never seen Super Troopers, that reference is lost on you, and I apologize. Go check it out. Funny movie. He took a bite out of the sandwich upon starting his shift at the Marion County Jail, then placed it in the refrigerator in a break room. He returned nearly 7 hours later, having forgotten that he had previously bitten the sandwich. He wrongly concluded that a McDonald's restaurant employee had tampered with his food because he is a law enforcement officer, and a paranoid one at that. Our partners at McDonald's have been helpful and have assisted in the MCSO investigation into what transpired with our employee. The investigation has determined that McDonald's restaurant staff in no way tampered with the employee's food. He has since formally apologized to McDonald's. We recognize that McDonald's is a valued civic partner. Okay. And any insinuation in private or in the media to the contrary is unfounded. And that's it. He's a little bit, I don't know, maybe he had a rough shift after 7 hours. It just slipped his mind that he took a bite of the sandwich. He was probably a little bit of a dope. Maybe. Could be. Possibly. We'll never know. And in other McDonald's news from WTOC.com, fight over fries at Georgia McDonald's ends in gunfire and arrest. A Georgia woman is in custody after the owner of a McDonald's in Garden City said she fired a gun inside the restaurant. The restaurant owner says the woman left with her order and then came back, saying the fries were cold. They're always cold, in my experience anyway. According to the owner, as the manager went to get new fries, the woman went into the kitchen and fired a shot into the floor. The owner says he gave the woman a refund and she left. She fired a gun into the floor and still got a refund. That's customer service. Police arrived at the scene at about 2:45 p.m. Tuesday and learned the woman had left. They stopped Lillian Tarver's car on Liberty Parkway, and took her into custody without incident. An employee at the McDonald's tells WTOC there was a full-fledged brawl in the kitchen before the shot was ever fired. This is serious, and I need to find a way to get out of it. Like, I need to find a way to get out and be alive, said Lynn Watson. That's what went through Watson's mind when Tarver pulled a gun over subpar fries. Basically kept going back and forth with me, and she took her drink and threw it at me and the manager, and then proceeded to come behind the counter, Watson recalled. Watson says their fighting words turned into actual fighting. She says she was playing defense because it wasn't just her inside the store. We were physically fighting because I had to grab her because she was putting up a set like this, and I had to seize my moment when I knew I could. When she bent down, I grabbed her hair and just started slinging her across the floor, Watson said. Wow. Watson says Tarver left and went to her car. When she came back, she had a gun in her hands. Then we were in the back of the store. She came to the back of the store walking like, she was ready to shoot. Watson says despite no one being hurt, she still does not feel safe working there anymore. I fear for my life, and my family fears for my life. Watson says she's not the only employee shaken up after the aggressive order. She says teenagers working summer jobs were inside too. What'd you do on your summer vacation? Right now, Watson says she is trying to transfer to a different location. We tried following up with, well, not me, no, I have nothing, I'm just reading this. The WTOC tried following up with the owner Tuesday regarding the fight and Watson's transfer, both of which he didn't mention on Monday. But WTOC is still waiting to hear back from him. As for Lillian Tarver, police arrested her on Liberty Parkway after she left the McDonald's. She is facing charges of aggravated assault and battery. A lot of action at McDonald's. We've done a few stories about fighting and just crazy shit going on at McDonald's. I don't know what that's all about. Here we go. Some good news finally. Bulletproof backpacks readily available on First Coast in time for school year. From firstcoastnews.com. Says here the backpacks were found on sale for $119 at Office Max in Jacksonville. One may call it a sign of the times, as bulletproof backpacks are now on sale at stores on the First Coast. That's so depressing. Since the shooting massacre at Sandy Hook, the backpacks have become a demand for parents during back-to-school shopping. The backpacks were found, as we said, the backpacks were found for sale for $119 at Office Max in Jacksonville. That's very interesting that you can just go into a store now and buy. It's not like it's a special order or anything, Amber Williams said. If you're wondering who Amber Williams is a mother of 3 and is considering buying a bulletproof backpack for her middle school child. I guess you can use them as hand-me-downs to the younger kids if they're not shot up. I know it's a sick thing to say, but I'm not the one selling the goddamn bulletproof backpack, am I? Yasir Serich is the president of Guard Dog Security, an Orlando-based company and one of several others that make bulletproof backpacks, and an opportunist. He said he started selling them after the Sandy Hook school shooting. We are prepared for back-to-school season, Serich said. We are prepared for anything that might entail a spike in sale for the line of bulletproof backpacks. They should give them some kind of cute name. I don't know what, though. Bulletproof buddies? I don't know. On the surface, they look like your typical book bag, but each one contains a layer of material similar to Kevlar, designed to stop different types of bullets. We are not sitting here saying that if you buy a bulletproof backpack, it's going to solve everything. I would hope that's not what you're saying. We're saying this will put you in a better position in the event of an active shooter than someone who doesn't have a bulletproof backpack, he said. Man, this is dark. Sending your kids to school with bulletproof items in case of an active shooter. This is really dark. It's depressing. And this really doesn't solve anything because I guess you can wear it on your front, but if you're wearing it on your back, it leaves your front open. If you're wearing it on your front, you leave your back open. There's nothing protecting your head or your legs. I don't even know if this is a good idea, really. It seems like a money grab. Parents are divided when it comes to having them in schools. It's very scary that you would have to have bulletproof backpacks, Williams said. But some are concerned it could protect someone wanting to cause harm. I don't think they should be allowed in schools because it's a way to enable a criminal to do more activity, John Norris said. I don't know how he figures, but if an active shooter grabs, a couple of these backpacks, if he already has them, he or she, let's not be sexist, he can wear one on the front and the back, and he's a little bit more protected for when the police arrive. This is the least funny story we've done. This is really just disturbing. Just because children are involved in shootings. First Coast News reached out to Duval County School for comment on if bulletproof backpacks will be allowed this school year. District spokeswoman Lorene Ricks confirmed that there is no district-wide book bag policy. So it's up to each individual school to decide what's allowed when it comes to backpacks. And that's that. Now you know. And now for something a little cute, kind of amusing. Check out the show notes at www.otheritemsofinterest.com because there's a picture that's quite adorable from fox2now.com. Mishap leaves 2-year-old Missouri girl with cake saying, "Happy birthday, loser." And there's the picture of the little girl. She can't read the cake. but she looks very down about what it says on her cake that's in front of her. It's really cute. A photo of a 2-year-old has gone viral after a mix-up at a Missouri Walmart left the little girl with a cake that read, "Happy birthday, loser." Melon Jones, 2-year-old Elizabeth's mother, said she asked for the cake to read, "Happy birthday, lizard." Elizabeth, Liz, Lizard, yeah, Lizard is the toddler's nickname. Unfortunately, as Melon Jones was leaving the store, she realized the cake makers got the birthday wrong. While the little girl looks glum in that photo, her mother, went on Facebook to say the child cannot read just yet and they didn't tell her what it said. I would hope not. The mom ultimately went and got her daughter a brand new cake. This time she opted to use Elizabeth's name instead. The cake mistake actually occurred last September, but Melon Jones reposted the photos in a Facebook group, and people in the group asked her to make the photos public so they could be shared. And there's some more pictures, some more family photos there at the bottom. That's a nice pick-me-up from the last article we did, which was dark, to say the least. And here's a story we were going to cover last week, but we went way over time, so it had to be cut. That's how bad today's show is, that we're doing stories that were cut from previous episodes. Let's continue. From the BBC.com, Gizmo the Chihuahua seized and taken away by a seagull. That's right, a seagull snatched up a little chihuahua, flew away with it. And right up top is a photo of Gizmo the Chihuahua, cute little dog. A seagull has seized and flown off with a family's pet chihuahua, according to its owners. Becca Louise Hill said a gull swooped down and grabbed Gizmo by the scruff of his neck in Pagnington, Devon. Her partner tried to grab the dog's legs to stop him being taken away. It didn't work. Gizmo 4 was described as a small brown dog weighing 4.4 pounds. Ornithologist Peter Rock told the Today program on BBC Radio 4 seagulls were capable of picking up small animals. I would have never, other than, maybe a crab off the beach or something like that. I guess I could do a cat. Maybe the cat would attack back, probably. Slightly shocking. Slightly amusing. Sorry to say. Miss Hill, 24, said her partner was with Gizmo at the side of the house at 1 p.m. on Sunday. She said a seagull swooped down and grabbed him by the scruff of his neck. My partner tried to grab his legs, but he was not tall enough, and the seagull flew away. She said there had been no sightings of Gizmo since. She said she would keep looking every day until he was found. It is not nice at all that one of my babies has gone, she said. And here we have a picture of a gull, a seagull. Because they have the webbed feet as well. I wouldn't think those would be good for anything other than maybe like a little swimming or something. Guess not. Mr. Rock from the University of Bristol said, if you have a very tiny little dog, I suggest you don't let it run around in your back garden. It may well become a meal. He said he was not really surprised to hear of the incident because gulls are very large. Tony Whitehead from the Royal Society of the Protection of Birds said it was possible a recently fledged herring gull came into conflict with the dog and the parents defended. Alternatively, it was simply a predation. He said it was a rare thing to happen to a dog, but he advised owners of small dogs to keep an eye on their pets. We also did a article, a news story, I don't know how many episodes ago, but Couple. I think they were seagulls, perhaps. Doesn't matter. It was some shitty bird. Okay, they made a nest on this older couple's roof and laid eggs, and they became very territorial and wouldn't let the elderly couple leave their home at all. Birds suck. And I don't know if this is funny or sad or a little bit of both. Headline reads, "We were meant to meet. Woman marries her dog live on This Morning." This Morning being a morning show in England. From manchestereveningnews.co.uk. And there are lots of videos and pictures that go along with this story. You might want to check them out. You know the website. If you don't, it's www.otheritemsofinterest.com. This is bizarre. Remember when there's the whole gay marriage thing going on, and the people against it, the assholes against it, would say it's going to lead to people marrying their pets. They're not going to shut up about this. Not that they shut up about anything, but This Morning viewers couldn't believe their eyes today as a woman married her dog live on the program in a bizarre ceremony. Elizabeth Hode had earlier spoke of her plans to marry her pet golden retriever Logan, but watching the light-hearted ceremony unfold was a bit too much for some watchers at home. The blessing, officiated by Alison Hammond, also saw Kem Cetinay. I don't know who these people are. I assume they're with the show. Also saw Kem Cetinay as the ring bearer, and Eamon Holmes walk Elizabeth, who is wearing a white dress, down the aisle. Alison could barely keep it together as she read out her speech, which was packed with dog puns and nearly creased up on several occasions, while a poker-faced Elizabeth prepared to say her vows. I don't know what nearly creased up means. That's some weird British lingo. I guess that means start laughing, perhaps. Kem offered a ring to Elizabeth, and she placed a wedding bracelet on the dog's paw while saying, "I do." Elizabeth declared, "With my body, I promise to take you for daily walkies, and all that I have in my doggy treat cupboard I give to you, and all those cuddles on the sofa I share with you." Oh my God. It's too much. She even noticed that Logan wasn't exactly ecstatic during proceedings and admitted, "He doesn't look very happy, does he?" And there's a picture of him. The picture could be taken out of context. I don't know, but it doesn't look like a happy dog. He's got, formal wear on and a top hat. Perhaps that could be it. I don't know. Earlier on in the show, Elizabeth told host Eamon Holmes and Ruth Langsford that she decided to marry her dog in the bizarre ceremony after giving up on men for good, following 4 engagements and 221 dates. But who's counting, right? "It was like we were meant to meet. He's saved me and I've saved him. I was broken before I got him. I got a dog behaviorist when I first got him, and she said he'd save me. She said, she said, save me, doobie, dobby." Too much. There's another video from this morning. I didn't bother watching the videos. The pictures are enough. She tried a dating website, but after only attracting attention from younger men and a married man, Elizabeth decided to take the plunge with Logan. Ruth attempted to explain that although she understood her position, her actions to marry her dog were extreme. And there's yet another photo. The caption says, "For better or for woof." Made me giggle. Elizabeth was having none of it, replying, "It's not just me. I have about 10 other friends. We go on lots of treks with all our dogs, and one of my friends said, 'Why don't you just marry him?'" Ruth tried to explain that perhaps she was joking, but Elizabeth just said, "After the Alibi Andy incident, I thought, no, this is it now." I have no idea what the Alibi Andy incident is. Baffled viewers took to Twitter to express their thoughts, with some berating the ITV show for the uncomfortable scenes. One posted, "Celebrating or mocking, deeply uncomfortable viewing, turned over." I assume turned over means change the channel. Another ranted, "Well, this is an all-time low for this morning, isn't it?" Not much of a rant, more of a comment. And if you're interested, This Morning airs weekdays from 10:30 a.m. on ITV. Yeah, I don't know about this one. This is it's a little funny, a little sad, a little sick. She seems happy, I guess. I just want to move on. From BBC.com, mass brawl breaks out on P&O cruise ship Britannia. And we'll find out why there was a mass brawl. Plates and furniture were reportedly used as weapons after a mass brawl broke out on a British cruise ship. 6 people were hurt as P&O's Britannia sailed to Southampton after a week-long trip to Norway's fjords, police said. A man 43 and a 41-year-old woman have been arrested on suspicion of assault. Good Morning Britain journalist Richard Gaisford, who was on board, said an emergency tannoy summoned security staff to the ship's restaurant in the early hours of Friday. Writing on Twitter, he said, "Witnesses told me they were so frightened they had to hide as family groups fought." The people suspected of being behind the violence were confined to a cabin for the last day of the cruise, Mr. Gaisford said. He said the violence occurred after a black tie evening and an afternoon of patriotic partying on deck when large amounts of alcohol were consumed. Mr. Gaisford said he had been told by a witness the incident was sparked by a passenger taking offense at another holidaymaker dressed as a clown. How about that? Somebody brought their clown costume to their cruise ship holiday. However, P&O denied there was someone dressed as a clown on the ship. I don't know. I like to believe there was somebody dressed up as a clown. That just sounds screwy enough to be human. The P&O Cruises spokesman said, following an incident on board Britannia on Thursday evening, we can confirm that all guests have now disembarked and the matter is now in the hands of the local police. Hampshire Police said its officers attended the ship when it docked in Southampton and investigations are ongoing. A police spokeswoman said the incident took place during the early hours of Friday, 26 July, on board P&O's Britannia, while it was en route to Southampton from Bergen. She said 3 men and 3 women were assaulted, with their injuries including significant bruising and cuts. The man and the woman arrested, both from Chigwell, Essex, are in police custody. It's a very confusing story, whether or not there was a clown aboard. And I did read another article from The Guardian, which was much more graphic, but it was very long. And people were saying, the restaurant area was just, there's blood everywhere. I don't know what to believe with this. Why would they they took offense to somebody dressed as a clown? I don't like clowns, but I don't think it's reason to start a brawl. Every article today, I just want to move on from almost immediately from starting reading it. They're just not pleasant. So let's move on now. And we'll move on to this wacky little article from OrlandoSentinel.com. Seems preposterous, but here we go. After Apollo 11, NASA considered nuking the moon. Following the historic Apollo 11 moon landing in the summer of 1969, NASA was feeling pretty good. It had delivered on President John F. Kennedy's promise to send a man to the moon and return him safely home before the end of the 1960s. The space agency was literally flying high. So what could NASA do to top its amazing moon mission? How about blowing up the moon with a nuclear bomb? NASA scientists wanted to explode a nuclear bomb on the moon's surface as an experiment. In a story on the front page of the Orlando Sentinel on December 16, 1969, carried the headline, "Nuclear Bomb Blast on Moon Urged," along with the kicker, "Russia can take part, top Apollo scientist says." Doesn't seem like a good idea. Captain Obvious checking in. The story explained that the chief experimental scientist in the Apollo program proposed detonating a bomb on the moon as a way to help study its interior. Gary V. Latham of Columbia University said he anticipated many political snags to his proposal, but promised that the Soviet Union would be kept abreast of all developments, the Reuters story said. It added that he even envisioned a cooperative effort with the Russians. Latham outlined plans to use a 1 to 5 kiloton nuclear bomb on the moon. He proposed sending unmanned rocket to carry the nuke to the moon for a blast in November 1970. So what could possibly go wrong with exploding a nuclear bomb on the moon? Latham, the story noted, said he expected considerable objections from biologists who might fear the destruction of possible life on the moon. The public, too, he acknowledged, might be concerned that a nuclear explosion could split the moon in half. As for all that nasty radiation that nuclear bombs cause, Latham said there was no need for Earthlings to be worried. The story said he proposed exploding the nuke on the far side of the moon to make sure any ensuing radiation would drift away into outer space rather than toward Earth. Got all his bases covered, doesn't he? In what sounds like something out of a Boris and Natasha plot from the old Rocky and Bullwinkle show, Latham even planned to ask the Russians to be in on the project. "I would like to ask them, the Russians, to put the bomb on the moon," he said. Oh boy. Latham discussed his proposal after a meeting of the American Geophysical Union in San Francisco and said he planned to offer it to the U.S. National Academy of Scientists for their approval. Since the moon is still in one piece and there have been no reports of later Apollo missions finding nuclear bomb-created craters on the lunar surface, it's safe to assume Latham's proposal was never seriously considered. Well, thank goodness for that. Don't you fire a guy who, he goes to his boss and says, "I want to blow up the moon. I want to put a nuke on the moon and just see what happens." Don't you fire that guy immediately? Or demote him to something where he doesn't get to spout off his ideas? I don't know. I guess not. And here's one with pictures you're going to want to take a look at. Lots of good pictures. From themirror.co.uk, doctors remove hundreds of coins and jewelry worth 53,000 pounds from woman's stomach. Doctors have removed coins and jewelry worth an incredible 53,000 pounds from a woman's stomach. And if you don't know what I'm saying by pounds, that's like dollars for the Brits. I'm not saying there's 53,000 pounds of jewelry and coins in a person. That'd be preposterous. Rooney Katoon, 22, was rushed to hospital weak and emaciated on July 16th after she had started to vomit following every meal. Baffled doctors in West Bengal, India, discovered the young woman had a hoard of items inside her after a scan, including 69 chains, 80 earrings, 46 coins, 8 lockets, 11 nose rings, 5 anklets, and 1 watch dial. That is quite a bit. According to Rooney's mother, gold items and ornaments had recently started to vanish from the family home. The mum said she had no idea her daughter had been swallowing the items. She also said the coins consumed were likely to have come from her brother's shop. And there we have a picture. It's just a big mass of items and I guess some biological material. They're putting them in a bedpan there. There's another picture of a full bedpan. Looks like a lot of biological material, but some items as well. I believe there was a picture right up top, which had part of the surgery going on. Her stomach was open, but it seems to have been replaced with a primordial dwarf. I almost started laughing heartily as I scrolled through that because I was not expecting a primordial dwarf to be there because he wasn't there earlier when I proofread the article. So let's continue. She said when Katoon was confronted about the missing items, she would cry, but never revealed they had been swallowed. Her family said, "We noticed that the ornaments were disappearing, but whenever we questioned her, she started crying and revealed nothing." The woman's mother added, despite keeping an eye on her, she somehow managed to swallow all these objects. She was not well for the past 2 months. But before admitting her at the Rampurhat Government Hospital, we had taken her to various private doctors, and she was on medication without any result. And there's the picture of her stomach cut open. It looks like a nasty biological sack full of goodies. Still, I don't know why there was a picture of a primordial dwarf at the top of the page. So if you encounter that visiting the site, be forewarned. Next picture we have is a gurney, and laid out is all the items in her stomach. They untangled everything. That's impressive. There are all the necklaces, lots of necklaces, rings, lots of coins. I do not see the watch anywhere. Maybe somebody pocketed that. Medics said most of the items were made of copper and brass. Dr. Siddhartha Biswas, head of the surgery department at the Rampurhat Government Medical College and Hospital, said the patient was, it says emancipated and could not eat food. But I think that's a terrible typo and should be emaciated. A lot of typos this week. He said the patient looked weak and emaciated, so there we go, at the time when she was admitted to the hospital. Her albumin and hemoglobin count were so low that we could not perform an operation soon. Her condition was so critical that she required at least 5 bottles of blood. She could not even intake food physically, so we had to administer total parenteral nutrition to artificially inject food through her mouth. Lovely. The operation to remove the items lasted around an hour and 15 minutes. For as much as there was in her, hour and 15 minutes seems pretty impressive to me. I'm no medical expert. I don't know. I don't know if that includes untangling everything. So, impressive nonetheless. After 1.6 kilogram mass of metal was removed from her stomach, doctors separated each item before laying them on a table to reveal the shocking amount she had swallowed. Medics said her condition is now stable. And we have a happy ending. An article with a happy ending. Again, there's a primordial dwarf at the beginning of the article for no good reason. So, just so you know. I just want you to know. And here we go with the last story of the show, thank God. And this is an old story. We're not even going out on any kind of good note. And it's a story you've probably heard already, if you've been on the internet at all in the past year. From cbsnews.com. I guess this article has resurfaced for various reasons. Childless millennials should be banned from Disney World. Tired mom rants. There was a Facebook post last year of this woman ranting and raving about childless adults being at Walt Disney World. And here we are with it again. Since it's summertime and people are on vacation, might as well cover it again, as ridiculous as it is. Should have had it last week for the summer vacation spectacular, but what are you going to do? Adults young at heart are flocking to the happiest place on earth, but at least some parents think it best they stay at home. Well, one of them anyway. After a trip to Orlando, Florida-based Disney World, one angry mother took to Facebook to vent her frustration with childless millennials, according to Twitter user @JenCatWrites. The parent, in an expletive-laced tirade, detailed an incident where she had to deny her 3-year-old son a Mickey-shaped pretzel he had seen another adult, presumably without children, purchase. This is the news. And there's the Facebook post. I'll read it at the end. It's amusing. Not because I don't have anything against millennials. Nobody should. It's ridiculous. But this woman is ridiculous. There, I said it. I think everybody agrees that has read this or heard it probably agrees this woman is ridiculous. The Facebook user, whose name was blocked out by @JenCatWrites, said she told her son the line was very long and assured him they can get the treat later. Part of parenting difficulties caring for cranky toddlers at the resort, she detailed. But her boy burst into tears, sparking her diatribe against adults in the park, unencumbered with tots. The article here has a couple of the quotes from the post, but I'm going to skip reading these. It's good all in one setting. The Twitter post with a screenshot to her motherly musings has gone viral, garnering nearly 63,000 likes thus far on the social media site. Bemused readers commented that they too enjoy the resort as childless adults. Who's not going to enjoy one of the Disney parks without kids? It goes without saying. While the Facebook user maintains Disney's family-friendly resorts are for children, the company has been courting adults for years, specifically millennials who have fond memories growing up in the amusement parks. Excuse me. I'm so tired at this point. I'm struggling through this story. At least 3/4 of millennials, 78% with children and 75% without, said they're planning on going to a theme park this year, compared with 58% of all adults, according to a 2018 survey from research firm Morning Consult. Millennials nostalgic for their childhoods are returning in droves to enjoy attractions pulled from parent Walt Disney Company's expanding entertainment portfolio, Its summer blockbuster movie machine can create any number of rides or themed attractions from titles within its Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars properties. And I guess Fox now, too. They own that shit. Chasing millennial dollars, Disney offers adults-only cruises. Even in its mixed family cruise lines, the company offers separate areas for adults-only pools, lounges, and nightclubs to offer parents respite from their active children. Once holding to a strict alcohol-free policy, Disney even loosened up last year by announcing it would serve cocktails in all its restaurants. The Disneyland Hotel in California offers cocktails at Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, such as a tiki rum drink for $14. No thank you. Jelly Rolls, a piano bar at the Disney Boardwalk in Orlando, also caters to the 21 and over crowd. And here is the woman's rant. Lots of caps in this. Lots of internet yelling. Here it goes. It pisses me off to no end when I see childless couples without Disney World. Then there's a series of unhappy faces, emojis, expressing herself. Disney World is a family amusement park, yet these immature millennials throw away their money on useless crap. They have no idea the joy and happiness it is to mothers who buy their babies treats and toys. They will never experience the exhaustion that it is to chase a 3-year-old around and getting stares at assuming I'm a bad mother. Now, I'll pause there. It seems like a projection on her part. She doesn't know what those people are thinking. So, let's think about that for a bit. Back to the rant. Here we go. This cunt in some very slutty shorts was buying a Mickey pretzel, and Aiden wanted one, but the line was very long, so I said later, and it broke his poor little heart, and he cried. I wanted to take that fucking pretzel from that tramp, like, thanks, bitch, you made my son cry. And another series of unhappy face emojis. Disney World is for children. People without children need to be banned. Mothers with children should be allowed to skip all the line. You have no fucking idea what it's like to have to stand in line for 3 hours with a cranky, tired, exhausted toddler. And I can't just tell him that we can't do something because it's his vacation too. I fucking hate childless women with a burning passion. And then it ends with a bunch of unhappy faces. It sounds like somebody regrets having children to me. Sorry to say. So, yeah, that's that for this show. Go out on that happy note. Hopefully next week there'll be better news. And I'll be in a little bit better of a mood. So, Mazel Tov, I guess. Cue the music. Well, that's that. If you've made it this far, I commend you. I really do. This has been Other Items of Interest. I've been Jack Zablocki. You can visit us online at www.otheritemsofinterest.com. You can email us at otheritemsofinterestpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Other Items. We'll see you next week, folks, if you come back. Bye-bye.